morning. It's Monday morning, the second day of Christmas, and I hope you're having a Merry Christmas. In the spirit of Christmas, we're going to start the book of Revelation today. That's a strange twist after doing the gospel stories briefly of the birth of Jesus and doing some of the letters of Paul. This will be a major shift. It's an apocalyptic book. Now, apocalyptic is a big fancy Greek word that means things that are hidden. So things that are hidden will be revealed. Apocalyptic literature tends to take details and hide them in numbers and mysterious creatures and things. It's a little like if you wrote something today about the Soviet Union or the USS, the Russians, they are now, the Russians and the Americans, and you just refer to them as an eagle fighting a bear. Or no one would know who the eagle and the bear was unless they knew what your topic was. And so that would be a kind of apocalyptic rendering of current events in modern history. So it's the same thing in the ancient world. And the idea was you're carrying this book around and the Romans grab you and say, "What is this you've got?" And they opened up and they start reading, the scroll. And what they read is all about weird beasts coming out of the ocean and stuff. And they're like, what is this? And they throw it away, or they give it back, and they don't want it. You're not in trouble for that. It's just you're carrying around some weird book. Okay. Little do they know that it's actually a condemnation of the Roman Empire and their bosses. But what they don't know won't hurt them, as they say in some places. So it's apocalyptic literature, and it's different from the Gospels. It's different from everything else in the Bible. It's not history. And people say, well, it's the history of the future. No, it's not. I mean, every time I see somebody on Facebook saying, well, people need to be reading Revelation because it's coming true, I'm thinking, you're misreading Revelation if you think that our current events are outlined in that level of detail in that book. And we're going to see that as we go through it. There's a sort of a standard way to read it that everybody thinks they know. That's actually not Revelation at all. It's Daniel and Revelation and several other passages sort of piled together and stirred up. And then there's the real way to read it, which is to look at it and say, what does this say about politics? And what does it say about the church? And what does it say about institutions and how they govern us and run our lives and how they can be corrupted and all of that stuff, which we're going to look at as we go. It'll be kind of a difficult journey, I think, because there are going to be pieces of this that I don't have any idea what it's about. But we're not going to try to find, Donald Trump and Henry Kissinger in these pages because they're not in there. We're going to see types of things, though. So we're going to start off today with just 3 verses. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants the things that must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw. Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near. So this is a revelation of Jesus. It's not a revelation about things that are coming. This is about Jesus, and this is written for people who are a part of the community of Jesus, a part of the church, for people who are perhaps frightened by what they see going on around them. And so it's kind of a comforting book. It should be a comforting book. It shouldn't make you scared, and it shouldn't make anybody think, oh, it's coming, it's all terrible, because that's not the point of the writing at all. Who was John who wrote it? John the seer, John who saw the visions. most people believe that it was John the Apostle. There are some scholars who say, well, the language is so different, it might not be John the Apostle. I'm not sure that we know, other than the tradition says it was John the Apostle, and so, okay, it was John the Apostle. John, who wrote the Gospel of John, and who was with Jesus and saw Jesus. I think there's a lot about that early generation of people in the late first century that we simply don't know about. So we'll look at some of that as we go, perhaps. It says that well, blessed is the one who reads it and the ones who hear it. So, consider yourself blessed now. And the time is near. Well, the time is always near. That's one of the points I want to make. If you read this as a blueprint for the future, then you have to answer the question, well, how do you know that that future is here? How do you know that's not 10,000 years in the future? Everybody always assumes that we're like at chapter 18 of Revelation. Well, how do you know that? There's no way to hook anything in it definitively, so we don't know where we are in it. We might be still at the very, very beginning, if you're going to read it that way. If you're going to read it as timeless truths that describe how power works and how some of our some of those dynamics operate in our world, then of course it's a different interpretive problem whatsoever. So we've got all these things swimming around in our heads, and we're trying to figure out. What I want you to think is, this is not about what is going to happen in the next 18 months, and this is not about politics, and it's not about who's faithful and who's not, and all these kinds of things that give people a lot of mileage, I guess you'd say, on the TV preachers. They've got it all wrong, frankly, at least from my perspective. And I've been looking at this book and reading it since 1982, so it's a long time. And I've been through it a number of times with groups similar to this, though not online. And we're going to go through it in the next couple of, it's probably 2 months it'll probably take us. So hang on for the ride, and I hope that you continue to have a Merry Christmas. And we will see you Tuesday with the next bit of the first chapter. See you then.